Today's presentation is the introduction to J. Samuel Bois' The Art of Awareness, a handbook on epistemics and general semantics, 5th edition. So first, as far as um, as far as has I know the book is a popular book overall, and so has any of you guys read it before or studied it in depth?
Yeah, we went through it with Laurie, probably 40 years ago, the whole thing.
Yes.
When you're a baby, probably, or were you even born? You would have.
Yeah, I was. I was born by then.
You say those years and I think, oh my God, that's so long.
So you guys did a book club study or something like that?
Yeah, we used to meet every Tuesday and we worked our way through it.
Oh,
Slowly,
wow.
slowly.
Okay.
Sometimes painfully so slowly.
Yes.
Was
Yeah.
that the graphic
As
art?
No, that was at Woodstock at Burwood, a grand old house that we had a room we used to go
Oh,
to.
right, yeah. Sorry, Jason.
uh so you guys sounds like you went through the book, are familiar with it then.
Well, I had a quick look. Um,
Refresh.
yeah, so it's very very using the tools of GS, and but I'm sure you'll remind us.
Yeah. As um as far as tonight's presentation goes, as I am thinking that as far as for tonight goes, I'm just looking to get a start into the book.
Yep, good
As
idea.
Yeah, as far as the section one goes, as far as evaluating is concerned, as it's chapter three, is where it starts with the semantic transactions. And at that point, that's as far as I got as far as for tonight's presentation goes. As if assuming we have uh, time, as um, I'd be happy to discuss uh, additional additional art of awareness topics. Robert, he sh said that he had some thoughts on uh, art of awareness that maybe he'd like to show. If so, that'd be great. And anybody else?
Yep.
As far as the book itself, I read it twice, and I was really impressed. Um, and also, though, of course, it's a very big book, so there's a lot to it. And so my thought is, I'll start small,
Mhm.
just try to set a base for this evening. Introduce a few uh, of the initial concepts, and then in the future maybe come back and pick up and maybe do another presentation, which I would probably like to do because, of course, just through chapter three, uh, I would like to really get into the meat of it. Um, Things such as the mental models that Law discusses. Uh, Chapter five, he goes into the process of abstraction, or yeah. Well, is it five? Anyway, I like how he goes through the abstraction, stuff like that. And so without further ado, then, as I'm happy to, I'll go ahead and start with what I have for this evening. And so far as my first uh, art of awareness presentation goes, here I have an overview slide. And starting with what is general semantics about, as I found uh, Mr. Dahl's article. Yes, Milton. I found his article as far as what general semantics is about, and so I'd like to share that. Next, go with Bois's bio, and then and then I did a Google search on why is Bois' book, The Art of Awareness, significant? As it was first published in 1966, I understand, and it has been very popular as far as a textbook and whatnot goes. And so discuss that a little bit. And then next, I'd like to share some key ideas on structure and language as a tool. And then talk about semantics and general semantics, compare the two, and then go from general semantics to Bois' epistemics. And then the part one of the book, section on evaluating, discuss why that's important. And then lastly, introduce the concept of semantic transaction. All right.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Hi, where have you been?
Hey, David.
Computer had some problems.
Hello.
So, what is general semantics about? Is an article written by Milton Dawes. Alfred Korzybski. Alfred Korzybski was born in 1879 in Poland and served as an intelligence officer in World War I. The impact of Korzybski's experience on the battlefields of the First World War led him to wonder, how come we humans become so advanced in the fields of science, mathematics, and technology, yet continued to behave so primitively with each other? He's very concerned with the ever-expanding gap between progress in these fields and the quality of our human relationships. From a functional definition of not what mankind is, but what mankind does, and a theory of mankind as a time-binding class of life, Korzybski formulated his non-Aristotelian system, General Semantics, and published his book Science and Sanity in 1933. General Semantics represents a way of thinking based on the proposition that science and math represent human thinking at its best, and that we can make progress in our human relationships through conscious time binding, following the methods and principles of a non-Aristotelian system presented in Science and Sanity. General semantics, a non-Aristotelian system discipline created by Alfred Korzybski. That's in my way. Emphasizes that human beings constitute an interdependent time-binding class of life, involving feelings of responsibility, duty towards others, and the future. As such, general semantics is concerned with the quality of human relationships, interpersonal, social, professional, interpersonal, national, international, environmental, etc. General semantics constitutes a system discipline concerned with the sanity of the human species, leading to, among others, a system discipline based on principles of non-identity, non-allness, non-elementism, a system discipline emphasizing a non-elementistic organism as a whole in an environments approach, involving interconnectedness, interactivity, interrelatedness, interdependence, etc. A system discipline proposing that structure is the only content of knowledge. A system discipline proposing, well, that structure is only content of knowledge, which together with the non-identity and non-elementism principles propose a foundation for an up-to-date epistemology. But wait, epistemology, well, we'll get there.
Study of knowledge.
Yep. And
Yes.
Milton does like his lists.
He does.
That's probably the best
Mm.
what general semantics is about that I found thus far. So I'll be sure to thank Milton. So before we jump into epistemics, as the slide alluded to, let's meet Joseph Samuel Bois. Bois, born in 1892 to 1978, was a Canadian priest, psychologist, and epistemologist who contributed substantially to the development of psychology in Canada. Bois was a psychologist and educator deeply influenced by Alfred Korzybski. Co-founded Viewpoints Institute, located in California, as a center for the study, practice, and development of general semantics. And of course, the author of The Art of Awareness. So why is Bois' book of The Art of Awareness significant? As like I said, in Google AI mode, I asked the question, why is the book significant? And I was pretty happy with the results I got. It shows that Bois' Art of Awareness has aged very well, and here I understand it's has been developed into new fields such as cognitive science, stuff like that. So the first one, why is Bois' book, The Art of Awareness, significant? As it helped general semantics become more approachable to the general public. Bois' The Art of Awareness is widely considered significant because it transformed Korzybski's dense, highly technical masterpiece into an approachable, classroom-friendly, and actionable framework.
Yep.
While Korzybski introduced the foundational principles of general semantics, his 1933 text was heavily laden with math, psychiatric, and linguistic jargon that made it notoriously difficult for the general public to grasp.
Yep.
And another reason that it's significant is Google says that as far as the democratizing of complex philosophy. Before this text, epistemology, the study of knowledge, was largely confined to academic philosophy. Bois structured the book to make the wisdom of the ages accessible to non-technical readers, corporate leaders, and educators. He wanted everyday people to recognize when their internal standards of evaluation were polluted by outdated or irrational habits. Another reason, Bois introduces the semantic reactor concept. Bois modeled the human being as a holistic semantic reactor. He argued that thinking, feeling, chemical bodily responses happen concurrently as a single unified transaction. This helped lay early foundations for modern concepts of mindfulness, semantic processing, and emotional intelligence in business leadership. And then the last reason I have is practical frameworks for executive coaching. Because the book offers structured exercises for improving thought habits, it became a staple tool in facilitation, consulting, and leadership development. It provided frameworks to help individuals listen with deliberate awareness, avoid cognitive traps, and adapt flexibly to rapid structural and social changes.
Mm. One of the things that actually moved into management was the managerial grid from Bois.
Because you use that a bit,
Yeah,
didn't you?
yeah. So that was
The
a direct flow on from Bois at that time.
Out of this book?
Out of
Or
that book, yeah.
Milton and there was
No,
another.
No, it was the managerial grid was a direct had a major influence from the art of awareness on the two people that wrote it and ran the courses. So they were
managerial grid. I'm
Yeah.
unfamiliar with that. What is
Yeah.
that?
it's a book and it was a course. When the female writer, I forget her name now.
Mooton and Blake.
Yeah.
Mike and Moon.
Yeah, when Merson died, Blake, I think it was
Here you
Merson.
go.
Yeah,
Blake and Mooton.
yeah,
And it was developed in the 60s by Robert Blake and Jane Mooton.
yeah. Jane Merton was the general semanticist. Robert Blake was the salesman. And when
Actually, in those
unfortunately,
days,
yeah, Jane Merton passed away, the course sort of lost a lot of its rigor, as Laurie would say. It drifted from general semantics to something else. So yeah. Anyhow,
So it's
that's
just managers working out what their leadership behavior is. Like a 9-9 is usually ideal. Effective leaders adjust their style based on immediate situation, that sort of thing.
and how they get there is what the general semantics portion of it was.
The grid has two dimensions. One is concern for production, and the other is concern for the people doing the production.
Ah,
Yeah.
So the 9-9 is a top level concern for both. Yeah.
Team and production. Practical.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's just my tangent is over.
Okay, a tangent over. I have one. Instead of the semantic reactor, I think Bois was more into the semantic transactor.
Yeah. Be direction.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, as it, later in my later in my presentation, I speak of semantic transactor. Yes.
Okay.
Anybody have any others as far as what art of words is known for or significant?
If a male is a transactor, is a female a transactess?
Yes.
And that's a tangent.
uh, uh,
So
yes.
that's not a distraction. It's all part of the environment of Bois, isn't it?
Excuse me.
The
Dear.
context. It's all context.
Yes.
Context can be an excuse for a lot of distractions, can't it?
Yes. Uh, so moving on to the next section.
You,
Okay. Ideas on structure, language as a tool. As I'm jumping uh, over to Bois' explorations of awareness here, as um, Bois has some very good ideas on structure and language as a tool that wanted to share. And so start off with who has read Korzybski's Science and Sanity? I can't see I can't see screens right
Okay.
now, so
Okay.
Oh,
I've read
Pauline
it 5
and Gavin
times.
have,
okay.
Yes, we have studied it. Yes.
and
Yes.
Yeah.
David has, and those two insisted on dragging me to the end. That
Oh
boring
wow.
stuff in the last bit.
What, book 3?
Yeah. Yes.
Although we did skip the stuff that had aged off due to
Oh, yeah, one
DNA.
very briefly skipped.
Well, we did read it
Oh,
just in
God,
case.
it was like pulling teeth.
Yeah, but we didn't study it in detail, yeah.
That's what
So
you
your
do
teeth should be in
when
good
you're
health
stuck
then,
with
Pauline.
people with thinking issues. Anyway, sorry. Yes, we have. We're familiar with it.
Yes.
And how much
Yeah.
easier it was to read The Art of Awareness and People in Quandaries.
And levels of known existence.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I read it too, it seemed like a rite of passage, you know, when
Well,
I
you
read
know,
it.
getting
As
the wisdom teeth cut out. That's
How
sort
many
of
times did you read it?
twice.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, I got the most out of it on the second reading.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, after the second time, it started making more sense. Um, so yeah. So as far to transition to Bois though, Bois, he too read Science and Sanity. And in Exploration Awareness, Bois, he tells the um, his experience with it. He says, and I quote, among the books that have influenced my thinking, there is one to which I shall refer very often in the following pages. You may have heard of it. You may have attempted to read it.
Attempted.
You may have read it many times. The book is Science and Sanity by Alfred Korzybski. You may have found it difficult and confusing to start, so did I. And for the first 6 or 7 years, I kept reading it and pondering it over its naughty statements because I found it a stimulating challenge every time I opened it. And also because each discovery that I made here and there encouraged me to carry on. One of my most spectacular discoveries was in finding a passage in which Korzybski gives us a clear-cut directive as to how to work through his book. Well, What was that simple directive that I missed for many years? Here it is. Readers who are interested in this work will facilitate their task if they make themselves familiar with these new terms and use them habitually. This work will then appear simple and often self-evident. And then Bois continues, prior to discovering the passage quoted above, I had made a few experiments in teaching general semantics. These had shown that certain difficult passages became simple and self-evident when I took time to explain with concrete examples what the keywords of these passages were used to represent. And so here then, taken from the book, I wanted to go ahead and go through his 12 lines experiment with everybody. So first, we start here, as the slide shows, with some key terms. Element. So element, structure, and range, and more, and word more.
You mean
Element.
elementalism, don't you?
Excuse me?
Don't you mean elementalism?
Elementism. We'll start with element first. Just simple, any of the parts or qualities of a thing, especially a necessary or basic part. And then followed by structure, the way in which something is built or put together, arrangement, plan, design, etc. Arrange, to put in a certain order. And then lastly, more, we will see shortly. All right. So rather than defining the words in a dictionary.
What he's talking about.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Define a word by actual personal experience rather than looking up a dictionary. Is that what you're getting at?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wanted to share the dictionary definitions first that I found. Okay, so I wanted to, yeah, so I looked up these same words in the dictionary. I looked up the word element and structure and saw the following definitions. Element, any of the parts or qualities of a thing, especially a necessary basic part, which is what I got here. Okay, yeah, these, I forgot to add that these came from a dictionary. Okay, my mistake. Structure, the way in which something is built or put together, plan, design, etc., so on and so forth. Okay. So rather than defining the words in a dictionary, Bois used the following diagrams as far as the 12 lines goes to explain element, structure, and more by studying their relations with one another. So first we trace 12 vertical straight lines of equal length like this. And as far as the lines go, we can say that they're one dimension. As in the past, I remember we've had discussions where it seems like a line was 2 dimensions. But for the sake of argument, from Wikipedia,
we've only got
dimension.
Introduction to Samuel Bois, the Art of Awareness thing on our. We can't see the. Are you looking at a diagram or something?
You're not showing it to us on the screen, are you?
Are you seeing the slide 12 lines?
No.
No, we're only seeing the Art
The
of
first
Awareness
one.
slide.
Jason, we're still on your first slide.
Jason,
Right.
can I make a suggestion to get the slideshow going? Because I've tested it on one of my slideshows just then. If you go down, because your from the beginning isn't working, go down to the very bottom of your slide display settings. Do you see that? Down the bottom of your slide, display settings.
Yeah, I see that.
Go to the far right-hand one and press that before you go to magnification.
Okay, so Brett, you're suggesting go to settings.
Down the very bottom of your slide.
Okay.
The one that you've got activated shows the slides on the left. Go three over to your right and press that one. Do you see display settings
Oh,
on your slide?
oh, I know. I see what's going on. You guys are seeing the word structure, aren't you?
We're seeing the original page #1, Introduction to Samuel Bois, The Art of Awareness, a Handbook on Epistemics and General Semantics. That first page. On the side,
Oh,
it says page #1.
oh wow. Yeah, I'm seeing 12 lines.
Evaluations.
So this is
Um,
just the four-line introduction, like, well, no.
So how are we supposed to get them?
introduction to is that it? So, are you seeing introduction to Samuel Ball's Art of
Yes.
Awareness?
And now we
Oh,
can see
okay.
that you're changing it, like you're putting your mouse over it.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay.
we're on.
Okay. Yeah, I clicked from beginning, and that's what I thought I was showing you guys. As far as right now, I'm seeing 12 lines.
So we're
Okay.
supposed to see other things as you went along.
Um,
To bypass setting it up, scroll down to your slide and highlight that on the left. Yeah, highlight whatever. Yeah.
Oh,
right.
as far as book there. Okay, there we are.
So we're on page #12 now.
12.
Yes.
Page 12 of 35. Yeah.
So yeah, I understand that we're in the edit mode.
We'll be up to
So
So that's simply the display mode that you're choosing.
ideas of structure language are two key terms, element structure.
so you guys
Mhm.
see ideas of structure language, right?
Yep.
Yes. You
Yeah,
can see
okay.
that now.
There we go. Okay. Um, I'm gonna try to move my presentation then over here. Okay, so now you guys see the slide ideas on structure language as a tool key terms, right?
Yep.
Okay, and just to test, if I
Well,
click,
we're discussing this rather than the content.
so now
Oh,
as a
here we go. 12
test, I
lines.
clicked 12 lines. Now you see 12
Yeah.
lines. Awesome. Okay, thank you. I think I can end slip. I better not. Okay, I'll just stick with what I got. Okay. All right, so thank you. As far as we'll just start over. As far as this section goes, ideas on structured language as tool key terms. I looked up these words in dictionary,
Yeah.
and this is the definitions I got. And so Bois, as far as his definition goes, he used diagrams. And so now we'll discuss that. Okay, so yeah, Bois used some following diagrams to explain elements. There we go. to explain element structure more by studying their relations with one another. First, we trace 12 vertical straight lines of equal length like this. Okay, the 12 lines. And then from Wikipedia, as in geometry, a one-dimensional example is a line. In a true one-dimensional space, objects have only length and no width, height, or depth. Thus, the 12 lines. And next. Okay,
Next one is
and
grouping
then
of
as far
lines.
as the lines go, each line can be considered as a part or an element of the total picture that we're looking at here. They are lined up like a row of soldiers at attention. And this is what we mean by linear presentation. As we number them from left to right, we add them up, and the total picture is a whole made of additive elements. And so then for the next slide, the elements may be grouped in fours if we want, and the total picture will remain linear or one-dimensional in its overall arrangement. Moving on to the next arrangement. Now, if we place these elements differently, we may have a picture that represents surfaces instead of lines, passing from individually separated parts to a whole of two dimensions, length and width. Thus, we now have a surface, as we see here in the picture, as far as the arrangement of the 12 lines. Here we have no more lines than before, but the total picture cannot be described by saying that it is made of 12 lines. The arrangement, the structure, is of a different order. The whole picture is more than a row of lines. It is an area or a surface. The elements are the same as before. The whole is different. The next jump is more spectacular. If we arrange the 12 lines as follows, we have a cube. 3 dimensions, length, width, and depth. And so the 3D cube, this picture says much more than the original row of lines. And in this case, it is evident that the word more does not mean plus. It means a different, more complex order of structure. Something has been added without increasing the number of elements, but by arranging, aka structuring, them differently. So then, as far as question for the audience is, which definitions are better in regards to being able to better understand the terms? The dictionary definitions or the diagrams, visualizations? As
Visual gives you a straight idea. It can often be a lot clearer in transmitting what you intend to give us.
Yeah.
Yes. As so yeah, as I'm a visual learner myself, and that's mostly how I'm able to pick up things quickly as opposed to just reading the text. Um, as we have some teachers, Gene, of course. I assume kids they maybe pick up concepts quicker with visualizations than text. Just a standard definition.
Andrew used to pick up really well if he was moving, like he was more kinesthetic.
Hmm. And what do you mean by that?
Oh, well, when we used to do, like when we'd go through the spelling words for the week, I'd just say the words to him and he'd kick a ball. We're on a slope at the front and just kick the ball back and he'd only have to say it once and it would be in his head.
Hmm.
I mean, he was generally a very good learner, but I noticed that that was the best way to get the spelling words in his head, how to spell them.
Yes.
So he was doing something active.
Yeah, and
Is
he'd
that what
move
you're
and
saying?
fidget sometimes when we were discussing, like, at GS meetings and things, when he was younger.
Hmm.
And he looked like he wasn't paying attention, but that's when he was the most interested.
Hmm.
When they had scripture lessons and he wasn't listening at all, he got awards for being the most attentive because he was sitting there thinking about completely different things.
Yeah. Well, we do have a notion, don't we, that if babies just sit or lie there or and smile nicely at everyone and don't say a word, people say, "Oh, that's a very good baby,"
Yeah, yeah,
And,
They could
and
just have
sadly, the
you.
same for older children.
yeah.
Goodness often relates to just not being a nuisance.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Is the baby happy or has it got wind?
Mm. Was unable to communicate.
Hmm.
Hey. Uh, moving on then. Well, this is just a slide of what I just said. Um, okay, the other section, as far as language as a tool goes, is uh, Bois in Explorations of Awareness. Uh, he uh, led up to this slide that I'm showing you here. He's saying we are coming now to a most important notion. Unless we agree about it, we are bound to misunderstand each other in the following pages. So please take time to ponder over the statement and emphasize a few lines further down. You may find it obvious, baffling, mysterious, exaggerated, or whatnot. I don't know. To me, it's a key statement. And then in capitals, our everyday language can be viewed as a brain tool. And so, what does Bois mean by uh, this?
Mm.
Um, Language is the tool we use to do most of our thinking. In other words, thinking could be described as talking to ourselves. The better the tool, the better the job. A rich and flexible language makes thinking rich and flexible. The language and the thinker form a working unit in which each element helps and limits the activities of the other. The elements being language and thinker. And then language is organized into a system by virtue of its rules of syntax. And it throws out of our thinking unit, that is, out of our functioning brain, all statements that are inconsistent with its system. For example, use of the metric system forces us to ignore the exact third of a meter. As I understand, Australia is on metric system, I
That's
believe,
right.
right?
Whereas in the US, you can have a
Last
third
50
of a
years.
foot. Yes.
Yes. Well, is the answer yes?
Yeah, we're
Yep.
metric here in Australia. Meters, kilograms,
Yes.
seconds.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I thought you guys were, so that's why I threw this example
I
in
don't
there.
know that I don't understand why the metric system forces us to ignore the exact third of a meter. I mean, we do, like, that's not a foot anyway, but we we can still, say 33 and a third centimeters or whatever. It just doesn't lend to thinking as easily, I guess.
Well, yeah, or if you try to go beyond
Mm,
33 and a third, I think is Bois' example.
mm,
Uh, the exact third is what? 33.33333333333, right?
yeah.
Recurring
Okay.
decimal, yes.
Yeah, and you don't get that.
So how many inches is that though? Like
Uh,
13.
yes.
Anyway,
It's 33 and a
that's beside the
third.
point. It's an odd thing to say.
Yeah, I know a meter's over 3 feet, I believe, right?
39 inches.
Okay. Say a little over a
13
foot.
inches.
Okay. And another uh another language as a tool. Um, if we become aware of the limitations of our language, we may recognize what limitations it imposes upon our brain. As um, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Well, it's harder
Next,
to think of a concept if you don't have a word for it. Is that what that's saying? Or think of you tend to, I noticed with the kids, words they understood, they paid more attention to those objects when they were first learning language as little tiny toddlers. If we got that fixture to fixate it with something else. So if you don't have a word to relate that concept, you probably would be harder to think about it. Is that what he's saying?
could be. That makes sense to me as far as, yeah, if we don't have a word for it, then yeah, we're limited. I think that's what you're saying, am I
Yeah.
following?
Like,
Okay.
the famous Eskimo thing where they've got so many words to describe snow. We haven't because we don't have, and that's a lot to do with experience with it as well.
The same with Asians and rice.
Mm,
There's 40 different types of rice that can be described by a Chinese chef that we don't know about or don't care about.
yeah.
Huh.
Both are white like snow, rice and
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm brown. They don't seem to know about brown rice.
uh, that's European, I think, I don't know, brown rice. Or dirty rice.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, they have black rice and anyway, so
But isn't it so that if we don't have a word for it, we talk around it,
yeah.
like to zero in on it by impression?
Mm.
Hmm.
But then don't live in absolutes, we live in constructs.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes.
That's assuming we all have the same definition of the word. That's a rabbit hole you don't want to go
Mm.
Not if you're a horse's hoof.
down.
Sorry, Jason.
And as I appreciate your guys' sharing. Anybody else?
No, it's fine.
Okay. And last, language as a tool. By pushing outwards the limitations of our language, by improving the tool range and the functioning of the tool, we may increase the capacity of the human brain. As
How much we use of it.
as I want to say, with some of the words that Korzybski termed, let's see. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of some that he created just because it was he created it out of necessity, so that we had a word for it, but I'm unable to come up with something at the moment. Let's see. Oh, I think I jumped ahead. All right. So, yeah, in conclusion, as far as language as a tool, if we accept the notion that language is a thinking tool, we must face the problems of language limitations. What we say of language applies equally to any other form of representation. Mathematical symbols, geometrical figures, diagrams, pictures, and the like. Bois says no tool is an all-purpose tool. No language, no symbol system can express everything in every way desired. Thinking, because it is carried out by means of a language or a symbol tool, is necessarily limited to the range of the tool itself. Korzybski had his own cryptic way of saying all this in a simple statement, non-allness. The map does not represent all the territory.
And a map doesn't need to represent all the territory. It just needs to be adequate for the job.
Yes. Thank you.
And isn't it saying the same thing for the human brain? We need to accept limitations on the brain because it's not all purpose.
And individual.
That's why we all
yeah.
think differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit depressing, isn't it?
Make more word tools.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's the end of this section.
Thank goodness.
And here, the next section is have semantics and general semantics. As going back to Bois' Art of Awareness again, as a couple simple definitions of semantics and general semantics. Semantics deals with words and their generally accepted meaning. The world of word meanings. General semantics deals with the meaning we find or put in whatever we do and whatever happens to us. The world of happenings meanings. Bois states, the dictionary says that semantics, here in a quote from Art of Awareness, Bois states, the dictionary says that semantics belongs to linguistics, that it is the study of meanings and changes of meaning. General semantics would therefore seem to be a form of linguistics, dealing with words and communication skills, and we call it general because it probably deals with all kinds of communication media not only with words. It probably covers other kinds of symbols and other kinds of techniques, such as diagrams, visual aids, and the like. It
Maths.
considers even mathematics as a language. In fact, semantics and general semantics hardly belong to the same order of things. Historically, they have nothing in common. In the preface to the third edition of his Science and Sanity, which appeared in 1948, Korzybski wrote, "My work was developed entirely independently of semantics. Although I know today and respect the work of the corresponding investigators in those fields who explicitly state that they do not deal with a theory of values, those works do not touch my field. The original manuscript did not contain the word semantic or semantics." End quote. We may visualize the distinction between semantics and general semantics with the help of the figure below. Here in our diagram. Here we have three men, each represented by a central frame that contains four overlapping ellipses. And as far as the diagram goes, all three men happened to be in the same room in a hospital on a certain morning. And then as far as the individuals go, we have first a surgeon, Dr. Jones, next a patient named Jack, and the third man is Fred, a statistician who works for a research project conducted by the local university. So as far as the patient being there, Jack, he's there because he has concerns, he has cancer. And as it turns out, his concerns are true that he does indeed have cancer. How do these three people respond to the word cancer and to the happening that refers to? What does it mean to each of them? To the surgeon, to the patient, and to the statistician. We can safely assume that all understand what the word means in terms of its dictionary definition, but they surely do not respond in the same manner to what the word and the happening mean in terms of their individual thinking, feeling, and planning. If we are concerned with the meaning of cancer, we are in the field of semantics, and we see that the differences in understanding it are not great. The surgeon, the patient, and the statistician agree on what it means. If we are concerned with their personal response to the word and what the situation means to them, we see great differences. The surgeon does not respond in the same way as the statistician. Their thoughts, their feelings, their total organismic reactions, their experiences and memories, their views and expectations of the future, their entire outlook on themselves and their personal values, all that involved, and gives either a tragic or casual quality to what is said and what occurs in that hospital room. This world of subjective turbulence is not the detached, objective world of the scientific study of words and symbols. It is not the world of simple semantics. It is the world of what I designate by a hyphenated double word, the world of happenings meanings. It is not the world of what happens objectively, but the bipolar world of what happens and of how one responds to and is affected by what happens. It is the world of self-awareness and self-management. This world of happenings meanings is the field of general semantics. It is that plenum of values within which we live and of which Korzybski spoke in the passage quoted in the previous section. Bois continues, our purpose is to become aware of our transactions under their various aspects, to learn how to manage them with as little wear and tear as possible, to learn how to make the most of them for our personal growth, and for smoother and more productive transactions with our fellow human beings in our family, our profession, and public life. Of course, a well-informed and judicious use of words and symbols has its place in such an undertaking, but clearly linguistics, good grammar, and communication skills are not all. We need the information that sciences of man can offer, and we have to integrate their findings in a balanced program. Semantics deals with words and their generally accepted meaning. General semantics deals with the meaning we find or put in whatever we do, whatever happens to us. The task is more easily stated than acted. To get the feel of the general semantics orientation, we have to overcome our well-established habits of elementistic thinking. Korzybski was most insistent on this, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. The philosophy of Jan Smut's holism and the clinical evidence of Kurt Goldstein, to mention only two distant and very different authors, confirm these views. What does it mean exactly? It means that we have to learn not to dissociate thinking from our feeling or bodily phenomena. When we try to make sense of a perplexing situation, we are not juggling disembodied ideas that are either true or false, right or wrong. We are tossed about by our semantic responses, alive, sensitive, dynamic, and responsive to space-time pressures, of which we are not always conscious. To master a delicate situation is a laborious process that may wear us out if we don't know how to manage it under the 7 aspects of the semantic transaction diagram that I'll share I will introduce later. I being Jason, I'll introduce the semantic transaction diagram and its 7 aspects. So that's end quote. There, as far as semantics versus general semantics. And next section, go from general semantics to epistemics. And here got some more slides. By the way, yeah, I'm heavy relying on slides, obviously. Are you guys with me still?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm falling asleep.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks. So as far as epistemics goes, with the epistemology, there's classical, and then in regards to Bois' time, more up to date. And we'll start with the general concern of general semantics and epistemics can be given in 2 words: up-to-date epistemology. As that's, yeah, again, the general concerns of general semantics and epistemics. In 1854, James Frederick Ferrier originally coined the term epistemology, which today we would call classical epistemology. Classical epistemology usually is described as the branch of philosophy that investigates the origin, nature, methods, and limits of human knowing, as far as according to the American College Dictionary. Epistemology is the science of our meaning activities. It involves inquiries into how we know what we know, and what are the core assumptions that hold our knowledge of the world, including ourselves, together in a way that makes sense to us. We include the biology of human motivation affect as an essential part of the inquiry. Each culture does this epistemology in a unique way. Epistemology, in our growing humility, attempts to put some order in the towers of Babel. Seems to me well said here in today's times.
Yes, well, we have a lot of babble.
Yes.
All right. All right, so okay. So next slide. What is Bois' up-to-date epistemics epistemology that emerged from general semantics? The epistemology we are reducing here is much broader in scope. It is not simply the science of knowing, but the science of the totally functioning human being, acting and being acted upon within the culture in which he or she was reared. Of energies. And then to continue here, as far as my notes go, uh, oh, okay. So to continue on, as far as my notes go, uh, so the epistemology, it views the whole of humankind and each individual as processes engaged within a process of evolution. It takes Homo sapiens as the only form of life that can influence the course of its own evolution. It has, for its objective, the knowledge and the practice of the skills of awareness and self-management. These skills are basic preparations for innovating and participating in a complex humanized world. Strictly speaking, the practice of general semantics and epistemics cannot be classified as a science, but as a discipline, a set of skills that have to be acquired. Once this set of skills is acquired and developed, it can be practiced as a personal guidance system, one whose central feature is a guided and guiding awareness of self and of others as autonomous functioning units in a world of purpose clusters, is what I got. And on the next slide.
You can actually use your downward arrow key on the keyboard to go to the next slide.
Yes, as in that's once I click on the right monitor. Thank you. General semantics and epistemics are attempts to organize in a well-balanced system the cumulative findings of the human sciences of our time and to derive from this system rules and procedures for self-management and mutual understanding. Both pull from a variety of sciences, which include psychoanalysis, psychology, sociology, neurology, and structural thinking. And so that, I believe, is an intro to epistemics. Yes. So yeah, it's pulling from a variety of sciences. Similar. So yeah, epistemics pulls from a variety of sciences similar to general semantics. Okay, next section is evaluating from the book. And so uh, yeah, evaluating as it was one of the I understand it's one of the key concepts of um, semantics and well, general semantics that is, and epistemics. And to start out, we have a definition of evaluate to find or try to find the value or worth of judge. That comes from Webster's American Dictionary. Now, one thing I learned here while preparing for this presentation, I learned that the word evaluate has the word value in it.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's the first time I ever saw that or ever noticed that. So I just thought I'd point that out. uh, and so then,
I think E in Latin is from. So it might mean value from.
Mm.
Maybe.
Okay. And then I have a quote as far as evaluate goes, and this is the introduction to uh, Art of Awareness, Part 1, Evaluating. Whenever you ask someone how she or he feels, we are asking for that person to evaluate. Liking or disliking a person is a matter of evaluating that person. When we move about in space, we evaluate distances, shapes and angles, etc. Our very perceptions involve evaluations. When we are in social situations, we evaluate the appropriateness of our actions. Whenever we feel physical sensations such as pain, we evaluate the degrees of seriousness. Scientists, artists, or scholars evaluate. In human life, all experience, silent or verbal, can be seen as involving systems and standards and methods of evaluation. Some of these methods are learned. We had to learn them and practice them. Some are not conscious. We were conditioned to them without ever realizing it. All are human-made to some extent, although we are apt to take them as natural, as normal mechanisms of human nature. Thus, all human activities involve evaluating, and the foundation of the art of awareness is to evaluate our evaluations. This self-reflexive awareness means to become aware of our core assumptions and become aware of our methods of evaluating. I call this epistemic awareness or epistemic inquiry. And the first part of this book is devoted to new models for the development of this kind of semantic transaction. A semantic transaction has significance or meaning. And then lastly, semantic transaction is one of the basic notions in the structure of this book. The model of human beings as semantic transactors will be introduced in chapter 3. Uh, so that's so yeah, from that quote, what stood out that I wanted to ensure was all human activities is what Bois is saying involve evaluating, and the foundation of the art of awareness is to evaluate our evaluations. Self-reflexive, I understand. And a semantic transaction has significance or meaning. And then semantic transactions is what we'll be discussing next. And that will be my last section here that I have prepared for this evening.
Okay.
So moving on to semantic transactions. All right. Okay. At the start of my presentation, in the what is general semantics about slide, I quoted Korzybski's functional definition of man as not what mankind is, but what mankind does. And so when it comes to semantic transaction, which we're referring to here, regarding man's behavior, in Art of Awareness, Bois refers to man as a semantic transactor and his responses as semantic transactions. Semantic transactor describes the individual as a thinking, feeling, self-moving electrochemical organism in continuous transaction with a space-time environment.
Yep.
And then, in addition to this definition, Bois created
Remember
the
this.
visual. Bois created this visual to help grasp that description of what I just gave.
What page that is?
So here, as far as the semantic transactor description of an individual as a thinking, which is the letter C here.
Yeah.
Feeling, letter B. Self-moving, letter A. Electrochemical, letter X. Organism in a continuous transaction with a space-time environment. The environment being the black part. And then in addition to that, then we have our past as far as semantic transactions go, you could say. And then we also have modeled anticipated future semantic transactions.
Hmm.
So I think that overall it's here I look at this diagram and I like what I'm seeing as far as the double arrow on as you guys might be aware of this.
You're reacting all the time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, transacting all the time is so yeah, as in from what I see here, with the double arrow, we can say that as far as the individual goes, we can say that the individual is transacting with the environment continuously as far as this right section of the arrow goes. And then we can say also that it seems that we have the environment perhaps transacting with the person as well. That's kind of like how I interpret it.
It's also been described as prostracting, as in projecting and abstracting.
Oh, projecting and abstracting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Projecting one way, abstracting the other.
Yeah. That's we're a biased transactor.
Very biased.
Speak for yourselves.
Well, the past, the
Yeah.
anticipated future, they're all part of our bias.
They are.
Anyhow.
I think it would come out well on a t-shirt.
Excuse me?
What'd you say, Brett?
I think it would come out well on a t-shirt.
Yeah, it would.
So
Yes.
you could meet many people transacting
Yeah.
the cogs.
There you go.
Ask about it.
Could be like those T-shirts produced by Milton Dawes with an enormous amount of small writing on them. You get people coming up and putting their face up to your chest, trying to read what's written on the shirt.
It'd be terrible if you had big breasts.
It would be terrible.
The middle
Yeah, the
part
person
would
get out.
sink into the abyss.
Yes. This, I don't know if this was the meaning of transaction that Bois was implying.
What do you mean?
Yes. You're thinking futures again, Jason.
And so with this
Just ignore
being
it.
a sort of a complex definition, I looked up the same definition of a semantic transaction in Drive Yourself Sane. And as far as what I would say is a more recent description of semantic transactor, in Drive Yourself Sane, the codish is refer to human behavior in terms of evaluational semantic transactions, or simply as evaluating, defined as the organism as a whole behavior of an individual in a situation in terms of the meanings he or she gives to words, symbols, and other events. As I understand this definition, as far as organism as a whole, is a fairly standard definition of evaluational transaction. And then I also remember Jeff, I can't remember his last name, former presenter here. He can't, I think he Morkovitz, thank you. Yeah, I think he produced an article about moving from semantic transaction to evaluational transaction. And I think it's been accepted, but I'm not sure. So as far as next slide goes, more quotes from Bois. This is the semantic transaction concept. This is a rather complex concept, but with the help of the visual presentation, it is possible to encompass it. It is time that we begin to see, behind the common sense appearances of individuals, complex space-time patterns of ceaseless activities. Our language does not help this new orientation. It is elementistic. It assumes that thoughts, feelings, bodily movements, and biochemical exchanges within our tissues and endocrine glands are relatively independent phenomena. In what we are describing here, they are neither independent nor dependent in a cause and effect relation. They are aspects of one complex process. Instead of saying, I think, I feel, I move, which are elementistic terms, I suggest that we say to ourselves, I transact. This means that my whole organism is engaged in a process with the momentum of its accumulated past, the drawing power of its anticipated future, depending on the environment in which it happens to be at the moment.
Hmm.
And then to further expand on the on saying his I transact, yeah. So to further expand on Bois saying that I transact, I'd like to return to the slide from earlier in the presentation of why is Bois' book, The Art of Awareness, significant? And so here I wanted to go back to the semantic reactor concept. And during that slide, I said, Bois modeled the human being as a holistic semantic reactor. He argued that thinking, feeling, chemical bodily responses happen concurrently as a single unified transaction. So I think that's what he means by saying I transact. And then, so as far as whole organism transaction examples that here I found, one was as the lie detector. As lie detectors register physiological answers that are more reliable than verbal answers. And so that's a very good example of a whole organism transaction occurring, where you got not just what the person being interrogated says, but also what his physiological responses are saying. So that seemed to be a very good example of a single unified transaction of where all these responses are happening concurrently.
That's going. Oh, you on the train? Oh, no, you're not. No.
And then a second whole organism example, a fight or flight response is in a fight or flight response, we have a situation that may provoke in someone fear as far as their emotion goes, and then the subsequent thought may be, I have to get out of here, and then physiological changes start to occur.
So what time's the train? You know,
as far as like adrenaline or whatever start kicking in order for that person to get out of that situation.
okay, and you're catching the 5 past.
So that seemed like another example.
Okay.
So
See you shortly.
at this point, that's
Yeah.
the end of my presentation here for this evening. Like I said, I got through chapter 3, and
That's right.
And thinking that
So can't park.
at some time down the line, maybe I can try for the next sections of the book that, like
Yeah,
I said earlier, I think maybe really go into the heart, really go into the meat of what
yeah,
Bois is trying to say.
yeah. I particularly like the diagram on what our book is page 100, which is the
I've got to go now. Bye.
Bye.
See you
See
later.
ya.
All right.
Bye,
See you,
Pauline.
Pauline.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Jason. That was really
Going to
interesting.
another party.
yeah,
Thank
where
you.
it puts a Bois model, the ST filter at each level of the structural differential to say that we're at each level of the abstracting process, we're filtering it through our past, present, and current organism as a whole.
What was that page again, Gavin?
100, figure 5. It's
100 on the art of awareness.
the art of awareness, the process of the chapters, the process of abstracting.
What
And
edition have you got?
um, 4th edition.
Okay, I'm in the 3rd edition.
Okay, well, it's the figure 5, a new version of the structural differential.
Not on my version.
And
Oh, I see.
I
It's
got
page 93 in my version.
Okay, well,
It's this
regardless of the
diagram
thing,
here, isn't it?
is it still figure 5?
No, it's figure 6.3.
Yeah,
Well,
mine's the
Have a
same.
look on the screen,
23.
Gavin. Is this the figure?
Yeah, that's it.
yeah,
Is that the one?
yeah,
Yeah. Page 93.
yeah, yep.
The
But
one before 94. Yep, got it.
Oh, so yours is a different version as well.
there we
It's
go.
got the
Yeah,
wigger at the bottom.
we had almost had a semantic bypass then.
What a coincidence.
uh, Gavin, were you able to make sense of figure 5, a new version of the structure differential?
Oh yes, yes, yes. I've also read Pemberton's Sanity for Survival, which explodes that again and
Ah,
gives more detail on it. Pemberton, I think, was a US senator who was also a general semanticist, and in the 70s, I think.
No, I think you're mixing him up with Hayakawa.
No, 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 no. Pemberton was a US politician, 70s and 80s.
huh.
I think what Bois has done in the structural differential, instead of putting the lines between each level, he's put his transactional lines to indicate that we're reacting to each step as an organism as a whole. So simply putting transaction cogs between each level. So we're not linear anymore. We are not linear. We're transactional. You know, when you did your 12 lines in the beginning of a presentation, we're
Yes.
not that anymore. We're transactional.
Hmm.
Perhaps.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm here with my understanding of semantic transactor. I'm looking forward to reading further then and maybe it making more sense.
Yep.
Um, as one thing that I'll share that st that stood out to me in here, the Art of Awareness fifth edition that I got is Bois. I think it's his mental models that he uses. Kenneth Bolden, Boulding. Uh, he came out with mental models, and Bois, he references I think his guy's name's Bolding, his mental models in the book, and the one and the one that stands out to me a lot is okay. The first mental model is foundational, as in static, uh, that I can apply to oh, uh, say a building frame, static. But then when it comes to I think the next mental model that he uses then is the clockwork mental model, where I can say this mechanical pencil, I can use this clockwork mental model to say that uh, all the elements of this mechanical pencil, they all work together as a whole. That goes back to the 12 lines again. They all work together as a whole to produce something more than just its elements added together. And I was like, oh wow, this is great. Because uh I can it's what I can apply to my everyday. And so that's I think that yeah, I think that's he calls it the clockwork mental model, the Kenneth Boulding guy, Boulding. And then from there you have further mental models such as I think it's feedback. The third one's feedback. Real good stuff. As that for me is like a wonderful mental models I can apply to my everyday life. As you guys, was that something that you guys picked up with and use? I can I can find it if you want.
Fight, flight, response.
I'm sorry.
What was it? What was the question again?
As I can find uh, the section of Art of Awareness where law uh, refers to this Kenneth Boulding guy's mental models.
Hmm.
I can find it if you want, but yeah, I just wanted to share that as something that for me I've been able to apply to my everyday, and so I was wondering if you guys had a similar.
I think don't go looking for it now. Make that a bit of a focus for the next continuation of this story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine too.
This was good. One of my favourite GS topics is the art of awareness.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah, as um, law for me.
There's two people moved half off.
Law for me, yeah, he makes Korzybski much more approachable.
Yeah, it's easier to digest. And it's got good diagrams in it too. They explain what he's trying to get across and make it easily digestible as a result.
Yes, as uh
When I first read it, I got a real aha type, epiphany type uh, experience.
Infinite response.
Yeah, it made general semantics make sense to me. It was one of my first major growth moments.
as have any of you found any video or had any personal contact with Bois?
I have.
Really?
I spent some time with him in his psychotherapy office, and then we went back to his place and had dinner. So anyway, little contest between Gavin and I. In 1982, Pemberton campaigned for the Senate, and the result was $10,000 spent, 5,000 votes, and he became number 12. He ran again in 1986, and $5,000 spent, 7,000 votes, and again he came 12th out of 13 candidates.
Okay.
So he ran, but he never succeeded like
Okay.
Cowan.
He had political aspirations then.
Oh, yes, and he wrote them up in his book as well.
Yeah.
But he was really into the Rorschach ink blot test.
Okay.
Suppose he did some of that with Korzybski, and he thought Korzybski was reasonably impressed by it.
Yep.
David, if I may ask, I'm curious as to what Bois' personality was like, given being
Sorry, I'm talking about Pemberton here, not Bois. I've never
Okay.
met
Yeah.
Bois.
Okay. Yeah. I'll go back to Bois, who's the man you had dinner with.
No. Pemberton's the man I had dinner with.
Okay.
Ah,
Never met
Oh,
Bois.
wow. Geez, David.
God, David, what are you? Come
How are
on.
you transacting here, mate? Come on.
Well, I was still in Pemberton mode.
Oh, rightio.
oh, okay. Yeah, as far as Bois goes, I've looked for video of him, and I understand he presented at the Korzybski Memorial Lecture as the featured speaker. I looked for that, couldn't find it. And I looked for video, couldn't find it. And I'm just kind of curious as to the guy's personality and whatnot. My thought is, uh, as far as a psychoanalyst, psychologist, very introspective, obviously. But then yeah, I read his books, and they're very uplifting. I'm like, wow, man, I read it, and I'm thinking this guy, he really had a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
I could tell when reading his books.
And they're a lot easier to read than Korzybski, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
have you guys found any?
I vaguely remember something that Korzybski himself respected Bois' writings, and he was one of the few writers of general semantics at the time that Korzybski respected, or didn't find too much fault with, I should say.
Yes, it's generally very hard for a charismatic leader, firstly, to arrange to allow transition to a replacement, and secondly, then to respect people who do seriously take up their message and try and do something with it. Look at Korzybski with Hayakawa and that sort of thing.
Yeah, there was a bit of friction there, wasn't there, Robert?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like a schism.
But between
Well,
the structural differential and the Hayakawa's ladder of abstraction.
Yes. Yeah. Jaison, if your contents are somewhat finished for today, perhaps we could, rather than going away and coming back, as we sometimes do, could we? I wouldn't mind I could show a little picture about Plato's allegory of the cave, allegory of the cave, from his book 7 of the Republic. We're going back for a little flip in time, 2,400 years there, but it does quite an interesting reflection on abstracting and transacting that we could look at for a few minutes, perhaps.
Yes.
What about the other people? Well, that's why I'm canvassing this now as a possibility.
Yep. Just
as a procedural possibility.
You've actually finished all of Jason's, haven't you? Because I haven't seen the last slide.
Okay.
I think you oh yeah, references.
Oh,
Okay.
references, is it? Okay.
Yeah, Milton, Codish, Bois.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think I've read all those. Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you for
yes.
reminding me, David.
So, Jason, I can grab the recording of this. We'll take out some of the dead spots and the so forth and compact it a little bit. And we'll include, obviously, things like these references on the website.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
That reality isn't real at all.
This isn't real. What is real?
But where did this idea come from?
Hello, someone there?
For that, we have to go back over 2,000 years to the famed philosopher Plato. Why is this story still so captivating, and what can we learn from it? This is What is Plato's Allegory of the Cave? Make sure you subscribe and enable notifications for more videos on literary techniques such as irony, satire, and foreshadowing. Now, on to ancient Greece.
How's it going?
The Allegory of the Cave is a selection from a larger work called The Republic, written about 375 BCE by the Greek philosopher Plato. It remains a seminal piece of writing with profound philosophical questions about the nature of human perception. To illustrate these ideas, Plato uses an allegory, which is a form of storytelling that uses symbolism to represent larger or complex ideas. So, what happens in Plato's Allegory of the Cave? It begins with a group of prisoners who have lived their entire lives in a cave. They are chained to a wall, unable to turn their heads, so all they see is a wall onto which shadows are projected. Above and behind them is a fire that other men use to cast these shadows. They hold up statues and figures of animals, occasionally making noises like a puppet show in silhouette. Because this is all the prisoners have known, the shadows are their perceived reality. One of these prisoners is set free and turns to see the fire behind them. The prisoner is told that the shadows were merely an illusion. The brightness of the fire hurts his eyes as he struggles to perceive this new reality. The prisoner is then dragged fully out of the cave and into the glaring sunlight. Once the prisoner's eyes have adjusted, however, he will slowly realize that this reality is far more real than the one he knew before. Instead of the mere shadow of a tree, he sees an actual tree. The prisoner then returns to share this enlightenment with his fellow prisoners. But as he re-enters the cave, he's effectively blind once again, for his eyes are no longer accustomed to the darkness. Seeing his blindness, his fellow prisoners assume that he has completely lost his mind. They mock him for leaving the cave in the first place, and vow to kill him if he tries to make them do the same. There ends the story. So what are we meant to take away from this allegory? Let's look at the various meanings and interpretations. Just like the Matrix, Plato's allegory of the cave deals with big questions.
What?
The quest for enlightenment.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
The nature of reality.
How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
And overcoming those who would keep us in the dark.
As long as the Matrix exists, the human race will never be free.
In the cave allegory, Plato describes the journey from ignorance to enlightenment, much like the process Thomas Anderson endures to become Neo.
Why my eyes, sir? You've never used them before.
As Plato describes, the journey upwards is the ascent of the soul into the intellectual world. Those who seek and attain this enlightenment would understand greater truths about our existence.
There is no spoon?
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself.
The knowledge Neo attains becomes a great weapon against the machines. Plato argues that in order to create a utopian society, we should be ruled by those who have seen the light, rather than those who choose to see only the shadows.
I choose the Matrix.
The Matrix isn't real.
I disagree, Trinity. I think the Matrix can be more real than this world.
After he learns the truth, Neo reluctantly becomes this leader, the one who will free the rest of us. But where the Matrix diverts from Plato is in the ending. Those who Neo liberates treat him as a savior, not as a threat.
Neo, please. I have a son, Jacob, aboard the Gnosis. Please, watch over him.
I'll try.
But as an allegory that uses symbolism, the meaning of those symbols is subjective. In most interpretations, the prisoners represent us, the average person. But who are the shadow makers and puppeteers? In The Matrix, these are the machines and their representative, Agent Smith. But they might represent any authority or power structure.
Listen to me, Truman. There's no more truth out there than there is in the world I created for you.
They could be politicians whose aim is to keep us passive and ignorant.
There's 100% certainty of impact.
Call it 70% and let's move on.
But it's not even close to 70%.
You cannot go around saying to people that there's 100% chance that they're going to die. You know, it's just...
They could be the media, showing us images that we build our realities around. They could be religious figures, interpreting the divine for us.
Our spirits live on in the whole of time, exist in many vessels, through time. This is the vessel you're existing in now.
They could even be our parents, imposing their own beliefs on us before we form them for ourselves.
That's my little scholar. Today, honor student. Tomorrow, UN Secretary General. The ancestors would be so proud.
We're still studying the allegory of the cave because the questions Plato asks are still relevant. And for storytellers, we get a perfect example of an allegory that can be interpreted in many ways. Let's look a little closer at what writers can take from Plato's allegory. Whether you're working in theatre, film, fiction, or even video games, there is a lot of inspiration for storytellers to find in Plato's allegory.
All these people here are players. We live in the real world. But you only exist here. It's why you can never leave Free City.
On a structural level, the allegory of the cave is a concise illustration of a three-act structure, following the imprisonment in Act 1, the departure from the cave in Act 2, and the eventual return in Act 3. Our protagonist is also given a complete character arc as they experience an event that changes their life and how they see the world. But the most valuable lesson is how Plato uses allegory to express rather complicated ideas with a simple plot and meaningful imagery. Just as the shadow of a tree merely suggests a real tree, Allegories use symbolic characters.
Residents in Tembiso rioted for the third consecutive night in an attempt to remove all the aliens from their township.
Plots.
These are people you're about to...
No. They're fly-bitten savages that live in a tree.
And imagery to represent other things.
Remember this as the last day of the Republic!
Films like The Truman Show, Room, and Us all take direct inspiration from Plato's allegory of the cave. But other films also use allegory as a vehicle for their own underlying messages.
Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy we don't need.
Snowpiercer uses the idea of train cars to represent the segregation and inequality between socio-economic classes.
Curtis, everyone has their preordained position, and everyone is in their place except you.
That's what people in the best place say to people in the worst place.
Zootopia is an exploration of prejudice and stereotyping.
I mean, it's not like a bunny could go savage.
Right, but a fox could, huh?
Nick, stop it. You're not like them.
Oh, there's a them now.
The Lobster is a satiric commentary on conformity and social norms.
Congratulations. The course of your relationship will be monitored closely by our staff and by me personally. If you encounter any problems, any tensions, any arguing that you cannot resolve yourselves, you will be assigned children. That usually helps a lot.
Allegory is a powerful tool that storytellers have been using for millennia. Now, it's your turn. If you're brainstorming a plot with complex ideas or challenging subject matter, go back and read Plato's Allegory of the Cave, and you might just see the light at the end of the tunnel. Make sure you subscribe and enable.
Well done.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Before we sign off, I'd like to say I'd like to do a talk about problem solving in August, unless someone wants to do something in July.